What's up, man? Welcome live to Von's Doghouse, man. Where we talk about who's in and out of the doghouse every single week. All right. The sports world has gave us a lot to talk about this week, so we got an exciting show, exciting topics to talk about. I want to give everybody the okay to drop some comments. Please interact as much as possible. Drop some comments, and let's just have a good time, man. First, I just want to tell a little bit about myself. If you've been watching me with Mitch Match Era on other shows, with other co-hosts, or even individually sometimes, and you've been supporting me through this transition. I definitely appreciate it. If you're new here, name is Coach Vaughn, man. I am an actual coach in real life. I coach basketball, not in the college level, at a youth level, middle school, high school level, as well as just being extremely interested in the game, in the X's and O's of it, the scheme of it, the data of it. Just watching sports. I'm a huge sports fan from football, basketball, all walks of life when it comes to sports. But I want to introduce myself as a Grizzlies fan and a Titans fan. But here on Von's Doghouse, we're not just going to be Grizzly and Titans centric. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, as you can see, for the docket I have coming up. So let's get right into it, man. Von's Doghouse, man, where we talk about who's in and out of the doghouse every single week. First up, man, we got the Los Angeles Lakers, man. If you know me and follow me, I'm a huge LeBron James fan. Like, huge LeBron James fan. That's my GOAT. I'll be honest, that's my GOAT. But I just feel like, I say the Los Angeles Lakers, but I feel like a big part of it is LeBron James too. I think how they're handling the Bronny thing, I tried to just, give it time. Huge supporter of the James gang, James family in general. But the way they're handling this Bronny thing, man, it's just been all wrong, and I can see it ending badly. I can see it ending very badly, man, with the way they handled Summer League, with the way they handled, the entire process, telling other teams not to draft them, and like that stuff could have just went unsaid. And the entire process is kind of, I was a LeBron and Lakers and Rich Paul defender, Bronny defender through this entire process, but as we stepped into training camp and we've been in preseason, the summer league process, they have not done the kid any favors. They've not done the kid any favors, man. Like, he's already going to be under immense scrutiny. He's already going to be dealing with a hell of a lot of criticism. And then we just continue to put him in the spotlight. And that's just a hard place for anybody to develop the right way. So we'll see how it plays out, man. But at the moment, I have the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, Rich Paul, that entire organization and how they're handling Bronny James. They're my doghouse, bro. They're my doghouse. And we'll see if they can make their way up out of the doghouse. But at the moment, I have the Los Angeles Lakers and that organization in my doghouse until they show me that they're handling this Bronny situation the correct way. They're going to get their photo ops maybe on opening night. Or I even have a problem with that to a certain extent. I have a problem with inserting him into the lineup when he hasn't really earned it. And, doing these photo ops, it's actually genuine. Like, when he actually goes down to the G League and gets his feet wet and then comes up and, subs into a game at some point during the year. But we know that's not what they're going to do. And, like, I just have a problem with that. Like, they're in my doghouse in regards to that. I'm sorry. But the way they're handling the Bronny situation, like, I have no problem with the nepotism, but just the way they're handling it, the constant attention, the constant spotlighting of Bronny James, it's just a lot, man. Like it's just a lot, and I can see it ending badly. That's all I gotta say. Moving on to the New York Jets, man. Moving on to another legend who's honestly putting the organization in a wrong light, man. It's Aaron Rodgers in the New York Jets, bro. Aaron Rodgers in the New York Jets. When this move happened, everybody was expecting the New York Jets to potentially be one of those teams that's playing for a chance to win at the end. I understand last year he comes out, he gets hurt, can't control that, season derails, whatever the case may be. But there's a consistency in Aaron Rodgers. Sorry for any of my church people who might be watching this and hearing me cussing. I'm sorry, but I keep it real and I keep it raw on this show. He's been an asshole, bro. Like he's been an asshole at every stop. And it's not just being an asshole. It's people losing their livelihoods and getting fired because he's been an asshole. I think firing their coach the way they did was a super overreaction. This is an organization, New York franchises in general, outside of the Yankees, maybe even the Yankees at times, can just handle situations incredibly distasteful, horrible, and just out of pocket in a sense. And I think the way that they fired their coach, Robert Saleh, who came from a great organization in San Francisco right now, who's probably one of the standards in terms of organization, to go to the New York Jets and, you know, I understand certain things. I understand the record and I understand the things that are happening in terms of the results, the wins and losses, whatever the case may be. But this is probably the first year in his tenure where his team actually has a chance to be good. And to get fired that way, like to not even, I don't know when they have a bye, but to not even make it to the bye week and get a chance to regroup, to be in week 5 and go out that way is horrible. Aaron Rodgers has to take some accountability in the situation, man. Like, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, you're supposed to be like, people love to mention him with the names of Brady and Montana and being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but the talent is there, man. But like, I'll be honest, and watching him throughout his entire career, I just don't see it. Like, I don't see the greatness. I see the talent. I see the greatness in terms of competitiveness, but in terms of being this winner and being this guy that should be on the pantheon with those other quarterbacks, I don't see Aaron Rodgers there. I don't see him there. And a large part of the results that are happening with the New York Jets is also Aaron Rodgers. And I just think, the New York Jets deserve to be in the doghouse because of how they handled this thing. And if they don't salvage the rest of the season and they miss the playoffs or they get into the playoffs and they get destroyed or whatever the case may happen, all of it was for nothing, in my opinion. It was for nothing. So, like, the way the New York Jets handled this and how they went about doing this was just weird. Like, very weird. And it's the type of stuff that, puts franchises back into obscurity. And I just think that's what's going to happen with the New York Jets again. If they don't, unless there's a turnaround for the moment, they're in Von's doghouse as well. All right. So, New York Jets are in Von's doghouse, and they have a chance to get out. But at the moment, with the way they're handling things over there in New York, it's to my doghouse, man. What's up, Logan? How you doing, man? What's up, man? Get in them comments, man. Give me some comments. My guy Logan, man, we talk in spaces all the time, man. That's one of my guys, bro. Good opinions, good questions. Just a good conversation pusher, man. Appreciate you tuning in, Logan. And then we get to Will Levis. This is probably where a lot of my viewers came here for, man. Me being a Titans fan and just the expectation that some of us may have had for this season and how the season has went, losing some close games and losing, as a result of our quarterback. It's just been terrible. Logan just commented, do I think the Jets messed up firing Coach Salah? Yeah, yes, I do. I think it was too premature. That's why the Jets are in my doghouse, because it was too premature. It was filled with panic, and it seemed like your owner or GM just woke up one day, went into the office in a raging fit, and fired the coach and promoted some people and just tried to go on like everything was over. Like, it was just a weird situation. I think they messed up firing Coach Salah because, like I said, up to this point, this is the first time that he actually had an opportunity to actually have a good quarterback and actually try to make a run. And it's 5 weeks into the season. 5 weeks into the season, and what are the New York Jets record? I'm not sure what the New York Jets record is right now, but they're not 1-4. They're not 0-5. Like, it's just, I just didn't really like. I just didn't really like that they went about doing it that way. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And if you wanted to fire him, right, it should have been last year. Should have been before you got to the season. Fired him. Obviously, he made you believe in something, and then you wake up the next day and you fire him. Nathaniel Hackett has been trash at every stop in the NFL, and he's only still around, once again, like I said before you came in here, Logan, because of Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has to take some accountability, bro. But on to Will Levis. We've lost at least 3 games this season because of Will Levis. The turnovers, bonehead turnovers. But all in all, I think Will Levis is a good quarterback. I do. I truly believe that he sees the defense well. I truly believe that he has good potential. I truly believe that he could be an NFL quarterback and maybe even a franchise quarterback. I believe that. But in terms of the Titans, right now at this moment, this week is a big game for him. Going against Indianapolis, going head-to-head against a guy, Anthony Richardson, who was chosen above you. And honestly, whoever wins this matchup is going to have a vote of confidence going forward. And I think for Will Levis, this is a make or break type of stretch for him. We're going against, Indianapolis and the quarterbacks that he has, coming up. Because we went against some good defenses in the beginning. So you can make excuses for him in terms of going against good defenses. Going against Chicago, going against New York. Like, those are really good defenses. Really good defenses. The Packers, really good defense. But now you're going to have some defenses coming up that are not really good defenses. At least not up to this point. So the excuse that, he's going against really good defenses and the excuses that people keep making for Will Levis, this is the week where all of that goes out the window. I don't want to hear nothing about the injury. He has the AC joint. I had an AC joint in high school. I did the same thing. I played every game with it. He's going out there. He's suiting up. No injury excuses. This is the week where Will Levis has to figure out who he is for this team to try to stay the starting quarterback for the long haul of this year. That's just what it is. Even if Will Levis goes out there and does something stupid and gets himself hurt, I'm off of him. Even if Will Levis goes out there and has a bad game and we still win, I'm off of him. Will Levis has to show us why he was chosen to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. This is the game. The Colts are beaten up. They're not a good secondary. Your offensive line is coming together. Your coaches are going out there and getting you players. They brought in Justin Watson this week. to potentially replace the weakest lineman on your offensive line. But NPF had a great game last week. A good game, decent game. You can't keep blaming it on the offensive line and the coaching and the fact that he's young and the fact that we're playing good defenses and the fact I'm sick of the excuses. This is the week. Will Levis is in my doghouse until that clock hits 0-0 and he's done something productive. Will Levis is in my doghouse. And that's just how it is. If not, even if he does have a good year, I still want to draft Shador, Cam Ward, or Quinn Ewers. That's what or Jalen Milroe. I think you still should get a quarterback. But in terms of my confidence in Will Levis, in terms of my leash that I'm giving Will Levis, that is this week. This is the week. If you don't figure it out this week or get it done this week, see you. Maybe even let him play so we can get a bad pick or whatever the case may be, whatever the organization decides. But this is the week right here. Make no doubt about it. If Will Levis goes out there and he has a subpar game or a meh game against this Indianapolis Colts team, this version of this Indianapolis Colts team, I'm out. Will Levis is in my doghouse, and I'm giving up on him. If this is the week, I'm giving up on him after this week because this same fan base was so quick to give up on Malik Willis after 3 games his rookie year. And now it's looking like Malik Willis is the best quarterback over in looking like he's the best quarterback over in Green Bay. He 2-0 and the other one 0-3. So is Jordan Love that good? Or is it the system? I don't know. But I know that quarterback that's 2-0 over there, we had him over here. And we didn't give him a chance. We definitely didn't give him 14 starts and 6 turnovers before we were off the bandwagon. So Will Levis is in my doghouse, bro. And there's nothing you can say to convince me that he's not in my doghouse until he goes out there on the field on Sunday and he proves that he is worthy of being the starting quarterback of this football team. And that's just how I feel about it. Not much people can tell me to move me off of that. You know what I mean? That's just how it comes down. That's just what it comes down to. Logan said, I do too. I wouldn't give up on it yet, but they definitely should draft a quarterback this season. Yes, next season. We definitely should. Regardless of how he looks, Logan, honestly. Regardless of how he looks, we should grab a quarterback next season. I think up to this point, even if he has a good year for the rest of the year, I'm of the thinking that you should still get a quarterback. You should still get a quarterback because that Will Levis that showed up in the first 4 or 5 games, and showed up last year at times as well, that might be who he is. And just because he learns to be a game manager and we start to get some wins here and we put ourselves in a good position to get in the playoffs or we win 8 or 9 games, still not sold. He would have to do some amazing stuff at this point. Some Jaden Daniels, some Lamar Jackson, some Joe Burrow, some Brock Purdy, some Kyler Murray rookie year type stuff for me to be like, okay, we don't need a quarterback. It would take something like that for me. That's just where I'm at with it. But the WNBA, man. I'll be honest, man. I haven't been like an avid watcher of the WNBA over the years. I was a huge fan of Candace Parker, of course, just living in Tennessee, being there during that era of dominance, Pat Summitt, all those things. So I followed her. I was in school during the Maya Moore dominance. Then she went off to the WNBA, dominated Brittany Griner. I feel like my generation was kind of part of a prime that happened in its own right in the WNBA. And now we're in another prime. We're in another prime of the WNBA. And there's been a lot of blame thrown to Caitlin Clark thrown to Andrew Reed, to other players around the WNBA, in regards to hating, or in regards to insecurity, in regards to a bunch of things. Nobody ever talks about the WNBA in general, like the commissioner, the people who are responsible for marketing these women and putting this league in a position to capitalize on this new influx of fans, this new influx of people who are interested in the WNBA. When the NBA had Bird and Magic, they did commercials. They made it their duty to highlight those players in order to continue to drive that narrative and that rivalry in a direction that they wanted to go. The WNBA decided not to do that. They decided not to do that. And they just allowed it to grow organically. But that organically doesn't really exist in a multi-million-dollar corporation or company or league or whatever the case may be. That's my opinion. But I think with the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese thing, they should have been doing the commercials. They should have been on Team USA. They should have 100% capitalized and almost made those two players walk hand in hand in this league, because what it has done is now you allow this fan base and that fan base to kind of do the marketing themselves, to do the social media marketing themselves. You allow the players to take ownership. Look at Angel Reese right now. She's out doing Wild 'N Out. She's doing this. She's doing that. She got her own podcast, because at the end of the day, she knows that if she doesn't market herself, the WNBA is not going to do it the correct way. Like, they just haven't done it to this point. And same with Caitlin Clark. So the narratives that I'm hearing about, the hate and the racism and this divide that's happening and the criticism of certain players, and the WNBA allowed this to happen. Like, let make no doubt about it. They allowed this to happen, and they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. Like people were kind of fighting for them and standing 10 toes for them in terms of protecting the WNBA and how things. They dropped the ball. And at least everybody can admit that they dropped the ball in regards to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and they dropped the ball in regards to growing this league in a way that would have been productive for the both of them. They dropped the ball, and now you allow the fans to come in and determine how that interaction goes, how that marketing goes, the narratives they want to create. All of that is because they didn't take it by the horns and do it themselves. We can talk more about that on another episode, but for right now, that's my thoughts on the WNBA. Why don't I know about the girl from Minnesota right now, Collier? She, to me, in regards to the WNBA and who I've watched this year, she's probably the best player that I've seen. There's no commercials. There's no marketing. There's no her on a podcast talking to, like, there's a bunch of things that the WNBA can do to grow their game, and they're just not doing it. There's a bunch of things that the WNBA can do to take control of the narrative surrounding these players in this league, but they won't do it. The players are having to go out there and fend for themselves. Make no mistake about it. The players are out there fending for themselves. And that's the problem in the WNBA. So they're in my doghouse, for sure. For sure, they're in my doghouse. So I'm not a big Caitlin Clark fan. I'm not a big Angel Reese fan. I'm a fan of both. I'm a fan of the league. I'm a fan of good basketball. I'm a fan of the growth. I'm really a big Juju fan. I love Juju. And I just feel like they handled it all wrong. like people would have been a lot more. There would have been a lot more compromise and a lot more easygoing feelings and interactions if you would have taken this situation and created the narrative and market wanted to market. But they didn't do that. And now here we are in every press conference talking about the hate and the division and this and that. And they allowed that to happen. So WNBA in my doghouse, man. That's just how it goes. In terms of the Memphis Grizzlies, man, a lot has happened in Memphis Grizzlies world. The last 2 years for sure, but especially this offseason with them picking up Zach Edey, with them, locking in last season, Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams Jr. And this team potentially looking like they're back at the doorstep of contention. And so far, man, so good in terms of how this talent has looked on the Memphis Grizzlies team. Like, the talent is undeniable. The talent on the Memphis Grizzlies is undeniable. This is easily the most talented team that the Memphis Grizzlies have had. Easily. But the problem is this organization. That's the problem. This front office is Zach Kleiman. I'm not even going to put it all on Zach Kleiman. This front office, let's just say this front office, because it's more than Zach Kleiman. That's why they say front office, because everybody has a job. And then Taylor Jenkins. Like, this organization is in my doghouse, because 2 years ago, who would have ever thought we'd be here right now? Like let's be serious, man. Like, let's be for real. Who would have thought that the Memphis Grizzlies would be here right now where we're at 2 years later, trying to convince the NBA world, NBA Twitter, NBA fan bases, NBA fans, NBA, officials, that we're actually a legit contender. That's crazy to me that we're even there. That's crazy that the Memphis Grizzlies are even at a point where some fans don't even see them as contenders. And they're okay with that. 2 years removed from that team that we had in, what was that, 2022? 2021? Can't remember what year. The Warriors year, when the Warriors won the championship. 2 years from then, and we have not been past the first round. We have missed the playoffs. We've had a top 10 pick. At a certain point, when it comes to some of these things, bro, it comes down to the organization. Like, sometimes it comes down to the organization and the coaching. The talent is here this year. There's no excuses. We can act like it's all rainbows and gumdrops, but the reality is, a year from now, Jaren Jackson will be in a contract year. A year from now, Marcus Smart will be in a contract year. A year from now, there's going to have to be decisions made on whether or not we want to dish out some max contracts. There's going to be decisions made this year. There has to be decisions made this year on guys like Santi Aldama, who's in a contract year. We just went out and gave Luke Kennard $11 million. And John Conchar is the first player off the bench. We just gave Luke Kennard $11 million. And John Conchar and Jake LaRavia are first players off the bench. We are in a situation right now where we're operating in insanity. We're operating in insanity. Yes, it's preseason. I understand that. For the people who don't think that we're being logical or that we're so upset and mad, I'm not angry. Well, we are in the preseason. But the preseason is always a precursor to what's going to happen in the regular season. I seen Taylor Jenkins have a press conference where we lost to the Charlotte Hornets in preseason. And the entire press conference, they talked about defense. The entire press conference, they talked about defense. Read the room. Get Anthony Sane back into the media room, or get some people who will ask actual questions into the media. Because like some of these questions, bro, like are y'all getting together with the organization to decide what questions to ask? Because there's no way they went out there in that preseason game and had 22 turnovers. They allowed the Charlotte Hornets to shoot 55% at one point in the first half. And they themselves could not get buckets, could not find the easy mismatch, could not do the easy things on the basketball court. And we go into the post-media conference and we're talking about defense. A team that even last year with all of their injuries, top 15 in defense. Every year when we've been healthy, top 10 in defense. And we're in preseason having conversations and our coaches rambling about tightening up things on defense. It's the offense. It's always been the offense. And the problem with Taylor Jenkins is he doesn't see the Jimmies and Joes. That's the problem. What makes good offense is the fact that coaches know they have Jimmies and Joes. They know they have Jimmies and Joes. If nobody knows what that means you have guys that make the ship go. In any sport, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, you put your team in the best position by giving the players who matter the most, they have the last say on what happens in regards to your offense. We are out there playing high school, 5-out, whoever gets the ball. No. He spent the whole press conference talking about pace, talking about space, talking about it's not about that, Taylor Jenkins. It's not about that. We know we can cause turnovers. We know we can get out and run. What we have been trash at your entire tenure is half-court offense, which to me means playoff offense. Because when you get to the playoffs and you play good teams do not turn the ball over. And if they do turn the ball over, if you can't score in the half court, they're not going to turn the ball over to the tune of you being able to beat them 4 games in a row. That does not happen at the playoffs level. Our problem is, what can you go to every single time? And what are the alternatives to that can consistently give you an offensive flow? You have 4 players on this team. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and I'll even say Zach Edey, that you can run your offense through. And we're talking about ball movement and pace and space and moving the ball when sometimes, bro, it's as simple as move the ball 2 or 3 times, dump that motherfucker to the block. Move the ball 2 or 3 times, set the pick and roll. Like, these are things that good teams do consistently. Mike Malone is not in Denver trying to figure out how to get more ball movement in when it matters. He's giving the ball to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. He's doing a 2-man game. And there's nothing the defense can do to stop it. Like, that's what makes good offense. That's what makes good offense. And all this preseason has taught me is that Taylor Jenkins won't be here next year. Unless he miraculously changes his tune at some point this season, he's not going to be here because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that it's not necessarily about the ball movement and the spacing and the cutting. Of course, it's about that stuff. That's basketball. But what it's really about is what can your team do on the offensive end consistently, and the other team can do nothing to stop it. We know if you set a high pick and roll for Ja Morant, there's really nothing you can do to stop it. We know that if you set a inverted pick and roll for Jaren Jackson Jr., we know there's not much you can do to stop it. We know that if you run Desmond Bane off pin downs, we know that if you give him dribble handoffs, we know that there's not much you can do to stop it. But the thing is, he doesn't know that. Like, he doesn't know that. He's not aware of the talent and the decisions to make when it's right there in his face. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. We saw when Desmond Bane got here 4 years ago, we knew he should have been playing right away. It took Taylor Jenkins too long to figure that out. He wanted to play Grayson Allen. There's a theme in this too. I don't want to go there, but there's a theme in what these people look like that he's very stubborn on. There's a theme. But he did it with Desmond Bane. Okay, cool. He did it with Gigi Jackson. He did it with Vince Williams Jr. DeAnthony Melton. Like, this is just something that he does. It's just something that he does, bro. He is very making decisions. He's doing it with Jalen Wells now. Shout out to my boy Sean, man. Stats SAC on X if you want to give him a follow at Stats SAC. Sean gave me all of these numbers and all of this data about how good Luke Kennard is playing in a lineup with Desmond Bane, Ja Morant, essentially as that fifth starter. And we get in the preseason game. We gave this guy $11 million. So obviously, based on how much we paid him, that should be a reflection of his importance on this team. And then you get into your first preseason game, regardless of Vince Williams Jr., Gigi Jackson, and Jaren Jackson Jr. not being there. Your first sub is John Conchar and Jake LaRavia. Somebody make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing you can do to make it make sense, bro. It does not make sense. And the longer that some of these Grizzly fans keep trying to make sense of senseless shit, they're going to continue to pull the wool over your eyes, bro, and you're just going to be dumbfounded when the reality sets in. When we're getting blown out by 40 in a closeout game. When we're missing the playoffs and picking number 10 in the draft. Like, anyway, man. Memphis Grizzlies are in my doghouse until they figure it out. Right now, I don't have the Grizzlies as a contender, not because of their talent, not because of the players. It's because of the coaching and the decision-making of the front office. Because obviously right now they're deciding who plays and who doesn't based on politics and based on shit that has nothing to do with basketball. And it's showing. And it's showing. And right now, we're just getting the karma from the basketball gods because we're cheating the game. We're cheating the game. They asked him a question in the post game interview about Jalen Wells. And the first place he goes is criticism. And not only did he go criticism, he criticized his defense. Jalen Wells has played some of the best defense in this preseason and in summer league that I've seen from a Grizzlies rookie in a long time. Blind. We keep giving the spotlight and the showcase to Luke Kennard, Jake LaRavia, the John Conchars, the Grayson Allens of the world. At this point, they might not just be blind, they might be colorblind, if you catch my drift. But Memphis Grizzlies are in my doghouse. Moving on from the Memphis Grizzlies, we're going to end it out, man, with the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado Buffaloes are the most controversial team in a long time. Maybe up there with LSU women's basketball. But I think they're a lot more polarized and a lot more controversial than LSU. They're in a stratosphere of their own right now. And over the last couple of years, man, there's been a lot of preying on downfalls. There's been a lot of preying on downfalls. There's been a lot of talk and, almost trying to talk failure into existence when it comes to this team. There's been a lot of talk also on the other end from this team about their expectations, what they expect of themselves, and last year they failed. It happens, they failed. You take a 1-11 team to a 4-whatever team. Okay, that's a normal jump in production. Maybe they bit off more than they can chew last year. This year, that may have caused some people to be a little bit too low on Colorado, and now you have a Colorado team that's sitting here at 4-1, I believe. 1 loss. They have a game tonight that I would definitely be tuned into. Kansas State, who is arguably the best team in the Big 12. They lost to BYU, but, that happens. They lost to BYU, but I don't see BYU as the best team in the Big 12. To me, it's obviously Kansas State. And tonight, the Colorado Buffaloes finally have a chance to start throwing some of that trash talk back. Because if they go into this game tonight and they manage to walk away beating Kansas State Wildcats, there's another story in here. Dylan Edwards, the little running back that they had last year, who he's really good. He wasn't hyped. He was really good. Really good running back. He's on the other side now, Kansas State. A lot of people jumped ship from this Colorado team because they felt like they were like they were going to be that. That's what they saw in their future. But now we're sitting here and the Colorado Buffaloes have a chance to beat Kansas State tonight and wake up tomorrow eyeing the college football playoffs. That's what's at stake. I'm going to be honest, as a Colorado supporter, I am 100% okay with making a bowl game. To me, you can talk your stuff then because that's amazing. That 1 year term, that's amazing. If you're able to walk out here. And obviously, they're definitely going to be a bowl team. They're going to get a bowl game. They're going to be bowl eligible. But who would have thought in year 2 that in week 6, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes will be looking at an opportunity to knock off a ranked team and become a ranked team and have their eyes on the college football playoffs. Nobody would have thought it. Nobody would have thought it. So, Colorado Buffaloes, you've been in the doghouse for a long time. You've been in the doghouse for a long time. And this is an opportunity to come out of it. This is an opportunity to do something special. Tonight is an opportunity to do something special. Make no doubt about it. And I'll be honest, it's not a tall task. This Kansas State defense is good, but their pass defense is not that great. And just like Michael Penix last year with Washington, Shedeur Sanders is the type of quarterback where even if we're outmatched at every other phase of the game, if I can throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and my defense can bend but not break, they could be walking out of this game. They could be walking out of this game with a win. Not to mention, Kansas State is not really good at throwing the ball. So if this Colorado team can stand pat, stand strong, and do really good against the run game, because they have a star running back over there at Kansas State as well, if they can do really well and stop the run, Kansas State is in trouble. Kansas State is in trouble. So, in regards to the Colorado Buffaloes, I'm not going to go Michael Irvin, but you have a chance to do something special. You have a chance to change the narrative. You have a chance to come out of that doghouse and start biting and barking some people. That's the opportunity on the table. And who would have thought at the beginning of the year, looking at that schedule, that these guys would be sitting here? Even after week 1, when they played North Dakota State, I told people North Dakota State was a really good team. And a lot of people kind of just wrote Colorado off like, they're not going to be that good. Then they lose to Nebraska, and it's like, here we go again. But this is a team with the potential to run the table in the Big 12 if they pull it off tonight. If they pull it off tonight, they undoubtedly have the ability to run the table. And if they do that, you might be looking at Deion Sanders in a college football playoffs with the new 12-team format, which I love. About time. He has a chance to be in the college football playoffs 1 year after coming to Colorado. It's crazy. But, man, I'm going to try to make some tweaks, of course, to this format, man. This is a dope format. I need to get a barking noise. That's what I need. That's exactly what I need. I need a barking noise that I can play when I put somebody in the doghouse, as well as the other things. I need an intro. But, I'm doing all of these things on my own, by the way. All of this stuff that you see, the layout, everything. This is all me. So, I got to figure out how to make a good intro for this and how to make this thing pop a little bit more. But I thank y'all for joining me, man. Shout out to Logan for commenting. I can only see X comments right now. I wonder if anybody is commenting on YouTube or commenting on Facebook. If it is and I missed it, I'm sorry. I'm going to figure out how to get that kink out later on. So that way I can talk directly to people in real time and comment and make this thing fun. This has been a good one, man. And this has been Von's Doghouse. I will see you next week, maybe even sooner. Let's keep this thing going, man. We're going to be bigger and better each time we step up here and do this live. It's very hard to do these things live, man. So shout out to me, man. This is my first time. I'm actually pretty rusty. I haven't recorded in a long time, and I did this live with no real breakups or mess ups. So pretty dope. But we're gonna be back bigger and better next week. Tune in, man. Grow the audience. Share with somebody. Come in here and have sports conversations, man. Sometimes if the comment section is popping, I might change my whole direction. So come on in and talk to me, man. And let's keep this thing going, man. This has been Von's Dawghouse. I hope y'all have a blessed Saturday afternoon. Watch some good college games, man. And yeah, man. Hit me up on the side if you have any suggestions or you ever want to join the show live and talk with me. I'm all for it, man. But this has been Von's Dawghouse, man. Have a blessed one.